Right, hello everybody. This should be live again. I'm just going to let it catch up on the computer so I can see if it truly is live. I'm just going to shrink this down so we can see more Blender. Hang on. Yep, this is live. This is working. Right. Right, there shouldn't be any technical difficulties this time. I think the last time what happened was I was streaming, and because I was recording us at the same time, that the piece of software, it just sort of crashed my computer, which made it go offline. So hopefully we haven't got any of that this time. The thumbnail for this stream and for the videos that I upload is a little bit different to actually how far we've gotten so far. I've set the sample rate here to 1 just so we can, you know, render it really quickly. It doesn't make that much difference. It'll just sort of show you roughly. So if you look, we've got this, and this looks nothing like the thumbnail because I actually went into Blender and tweaked around with the thumbnail a little bit with the image just so we could get a nice thumbnail for it. But we're actually gonna, it's in the thumbnail there's actually an explosion here, so we're actually going to be doing that today. We're going to be creating a big explosion, and I'm actually going to be recording this separately now. We're going to be doing it on a different, we're going to be streaming on with one software and recording with a different one, which you might think makes it worse, but it's actually better for some reason. So I'm going to start this right now. Okay, hopefully it doesn't crash, because this software has a tendency to crash. Right, let's start. Now the first thing I notice is there's a little bit of news if we're going to go into start this. We're going to look at the Pro Lighting Skies add-on, which actually broke the internet, broke the Blender community not long ago when it first came. I think it was yesterday when the full thing came out. I'm using the demo version at the moment because I can't afford the whole thing currently. So I just want to show you the difference between scenes when I go and I do it on with the normal sky compared to with this HDR demo thingy, this add-on. So if I'm just going to go into rendered view at the moment, nothing's breaking. Right, we get this image here and it looks okay. I mean, I'm not focusing on the actual how noisy the trenches are or anything. I'm talking about this sky here. It looks okay. However, if I was to go out of this and I was to tick this and then go into render view, it takes a little bit longer. Wait for it. We get this, which looks a lot better as we've got some of the sky, we've got the sun here, and I was actually looking at the morning one on this as well, which also really works well with it. But I'm just going to stick with this because I want it to be sort of dark-ish, you know, sort of, you know, the sky, you know, very dark at night, rather than it being, you know, bright. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the simulations, and what I want to get out of this is if I go to camera view mode, I want like a round from like a cannon or something to fall down and explode over here, blow up, and then I want the whole ground to shake, and I want the camera to be looking round. So it's like shaky cam. Hang on, I need to sneeze. Wait, no, I don't. Oh god, hay fever. Right, anyway, shaky cam, yeah. So it looks like it's like someone actually using the camera. That's what I want to get out of this. So first off, I'm going to be doing the round falling down into the hitting the ground, which will hit the ground right behind here. So it goes down and hits down there. And what that will do is it will we're going to use the glare node in the compositor to, if I actually go into the compositor, see if I actually still used it. This one. Yeah, I did all this here. So if I just delete all this here, just so we can do that ourselves. I'm actually going to go into After Effects and do all that a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm just going to get an object, fall down here and hit the ground, and then we will go into the compositor and composite that first. So I'm just going to get a sphere, which seemed to be the best option. I'm going to drag it up here like this, and I am just going to shrink it down so it's like a, so it's almost cylindrical, so it's pretty much a cylindrical looking thing here, like so, and it can be very thin. It doesn't have to be very thick at all, like so. And I'm just going to drag it to the side, and I'm just going to shrink it down again a little bit more. Do a little bit more shrinking, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it back here. So what we've got, if I go into the camera view, is this is going to come from here, and it's going to fall and hit a little bit further back. Actually, it comes and falls. Oop. It falls and it hits back there, and then there's going to be an explosion round there. And then we're going to go through and do like all the camera editing and stuff like that first. So yeah, I'm just going to render this after I've added an emission shader, so we've got some, actually it actually looked bright. So I'm just going to 100, which is incredibly bright, but because it's the object so small, it shouldn't make a difference. It's very slow rendering. Should have really gone into the rendered view. Block of light there, which is what we want. So what I'm going to do is render the image. It's going to be one sample, so you know, not very good. And there we go, as it renders. And the reason why it's so long is because I want it to look sort of streaked, so that's a good, it's a nice little technique to use. So I'm going to go to the node editor, and we're going to go to the image, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to a filter, glare, and I'm just going to tweak with these settings. So at the moment that's way too bright, and the reason why there's glare around here is because we've rendered it with one sample, so there's going to be a couple of little bits of bright white bits here. I don't want it to be streaks. I think I want it to be a fog glow, so it actually looks like it's a glow. And at the moment it looks a bit too big, like that. That looks good. And what does that do? Oh no, we don't want that. We want to keep that at 0. And if you go back, if we go to 1, you can see we're getting some glare in the sky and around here. You can actually see where all. We don't want that. I'm just playing around with that. So -0, whatever that means. And that's all I want. And the quality. Right, I'm going to set the size to 8. Wait for it to compose. There, like perfect. And I'm just going to increase the size a little bit, just so it looks sort of like a trace around, which I know probably, I'm not sure if they actually exist, they were made during the First World War, but I'm pretty sure they wasn't. But you know, it just makes the whole image look a little bit better. Right. Quite long and streaky at the moment, but when we composite it, go through into the compositor, it looks like a very thick line. And I might change around with those settings in a bit, but at the moment it's fine as it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it off screen, completely off screen, and I'm just going to go to the location settings. I'm just going to click insert keyframes, and I want it to be fast, but I don't want it to be too fast, so maybe to 50. Go down here like that, and insert keyframes again. So if we look at how fast it is at the moment, that's a little bit too. I'm just going to clear these keyframes, and I'm just going to go to just when all those planks of wood drop. So I'm just going to go 50, and then insert the keyframes. Maybe go to frame 60, so maybe it'd be 10 frames, and then drag it down, then insert the keyframes again. Now it's a little bit slower, so go back to the beginning, and let's see what it does. So that's sort of what I want. Maybe a little bit slower. I might just go with 15 frames. So I'm just going to clear the keyframes again, go to frame 50, insert the keyframes again, and go to frame 65, drag it down again, and then insert the keyframes again. This should be enough. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good at the moment. So what it's doing, it doesn't look very good at the moment because obviously it just looks genuinely awful but it's gonna fall back. It's gonna fall. The rocket's gonna go down like so and hit the floor. Now if I go and render this image here, break some more CPU. Come on, there we go. What it's it looks like a giant spear coming from the sky. Just a giant glowing spear. But what at the moment that looks like it looks like a UFO. But we're gonna tweak around with this until it hits, and so we can get it so it looks like a tracer round that's just falling and hitting the ground over here, and then blowing up along here. So I'm just going to stop the recording at the moment. Oh, I got it right, about exactly 10 minutes. Huh. Quite proud of myself for that. Anyway, I'm just going to save this. I'm just going to save as part 1. There we go. Desktop. My desktop gets cluttered by. I'm going to start the new recording. So you get into what it's like to live stream and record. So what we've got here so far is that I want to actually go back into the compositor and focus on getting that glare to be perfect. So I'm just going to go to the node editor, and I'm just going to render the image again. Right. Well, wait for it to finish. Completely finish. There we go. Done. And go back to this. And I don't think the size. Let's set the size to 6. Let's see what that does to it. So as you can see now, we're getting it a little bit better. What does the threshold do for this? If I just set it up to 5.7, see what it does. No, it just blows up the screen. Oh no, it doesn't do anything. 0.2. This is what I like. Oh, this is oh, that doesn't look very good. This is what I like to do to test out what each button does in Blender. You just set the settings up and see if it blows up or see what happens. Just it's quite funny. A way to work out how to use Blender. I'm just going to shrink this down. And then let's give it another render. So yeah, as you can, this is what we're trying to do. We're going to get it to, so it's going to fall down, and then we're going to set up a big explosion to where it went, and then obviously it's going to shake. There's going to be a bit of a shaking in the camera, so we're going to go into the animator tool and use some noise methods to animate it. That looks perfect for what we want at the moment. So I'm just going to lose it like that. That looks perfect. So what we've got is barely noticeable at the moment. It falls down there like that, and it looks brilliant. Right. I just want to see if I can set it back, because I want... Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back quite a bit, because there are 4 of these... oh no, there's not. There's 3 of these like trenches that are modelled, and I want it to... the explosion to hit this one and then maybe go onto that one a little bit. So I want to drag this back so it hits. I don't know if I have to I have to keyframe them now. Great, clear keyframes, brilliant. Right, drag this all the way back here like that. Yeah, that'll do. Go to frame 50, insert the keyframes. Go to frame 65. Go drag it down so it just hits the floor. Insert keyframes. So we've got this. Right, what does that do to the image? It means that I need to drag it up, because now we can see it in the view because it's far away. Great. Let's do some more keyframing. Right, let's drag it all the way up there. It will not be seen when it's up there. Go to frame 50. Insert some more keyframes. 65. Oh, can't even see it now. Drag it down. Insert keyframes. Right, brilliant. It's just this is my trial and error method for keyframing. Just trying out whatever it is and see if it works, and it never normally does. So what we've got is some god-awful looking thing at the moment, but if we go into the rendered view, we get it to look like this. Wait for it. Right, let it composite. So that's what we've got so far, and it's not going to look very good until we've added the explosion on this side, which is what we're going to do now. And I'm going to simulating the explosion first using quick effects, which is very useful. So I'm just going to work out roughly where it hits. So it hits about there. So I'm just going to maybe center it there, right in the middle of this trench little bit there, what I've got going on here. So I'm just going to add a UV sphere wherever it's gone. I should have really set the point over here, but it's alright. And I'm just going to shrink it down so we can't see it in the camera view. Just going to drag it down here, and because this is an explosion, it will actually blow up all the little segments here. So I'm just going to go into the edit mode, and I'm just going to subdivide it one time, just so we've got so we've got a lot of pieces that will explode. And then we're going to go straight into Object, Quick Effects, Quick Explode. Now what we've got to do here is we've got to make sure we've got exactly what we want, because if I click off this, if I click on something else, it will get rid of these settings, which is really annoying in most cases, because you have to add the sphere back in and change back the settings. So you can't see it at the moment. So what I want to do is I want to start the start frame to be 65. So when it actually hits, so I'm just going to re-cache that, and on. Here we go. Slowly, and then it explodes. Okay, but obviously it's not exploding good enough yet, so I'm going to set the outwards velocity to about 5 for now. I'm just going to re-cache that and let it go again. Right, so I'm just going to set the number of pieces to 250, then do it again. So I'm gonna change those planks in a minute. So look, if we do this slowly, if we just watch the thing hit and the explosion at the same time, see if they actually coincide and work properly. So that's very quick. Looking, if you blink you'll miss it. So that looks brilliant at the moment. I'm just gonna set this up to 7, and I'm gonna set the pieces to 300. This isn't no small explosion. This is a big one. This was a big missile. This was that hit. So yeah, just check my recording. Oop. Right, let's go again. I keep on saying it because whenever it freezes, I'm worried that it might break. Right, it's getting better. Right, that is it. That we've got it. I think that we've got what I want. Let's just watch it here. Right, yep. And now, what we've got to do now, before we even go into the smoke and fire simulator, which will just be killer for the for the lagging and how fast it's going to go, what we're going to do is we are going to set up the vision for these, so actually because I want the particles, the little pieces, to stop pretty much where they are. I don't want to, because if I go into this and add collision, that means now the explosion will collide with this, the pieces, but they will bounce quite a bit. If we look at this now, if it got that, the pieces, they do some pretty weird stuff. So at the moment they all just stop, which looks like a good idea. So I would just need to do this for the whole, for all the objects in this scene that actually collide with this explosion modifier. So let's go like that. Save it again, and like that. Now it actually goes as far as the other side of the trench and this one as well. So we're going to have to add a collision on this, add a collision on this, add a collision on this, and add a collision on this. I don't think it'll be necessary to add a collision on all these planks of wood here, but what I'm going to do just quickly, I'm just going to take all these planks of wood, I'm just going to bring them down because it's really annoying. So now they touch the floor basically straight away. We don't want anything going wrong with that. And ready. Right, let's go into the camera view. So we can see the explosion here, and it's looking quite nice at the moment. And now, and then it all hits here, and this is the problem that I was telling you about just a second ago. All the pieces, they stop there, however they hit this side of the trench and they bounce off, which is not what I really want, because it's not, because when an explosion happens it doesn't normally bounce. So if I show you that there, if we look at those pieces there, they bounce off, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a big problem. But for now I'm just going to leave it like that, and I'm just going to stop the recording, and I'm just going to save it. I keep on stopping the recording exactly round about 10 minutes, which is quite proud of. Part 2. Right, save. Again, a sneak preview of what it's like to make Blender tutorials. Right, so saved. Let's get rid of that, and let's go again. I'm just going to check the stream, make sure it's all working properly. Yeah, it's all working properly. Right, let's go start again. Start the recording. So we've done that. Now let's actually use the smoke simulator and hope that it doesn't crash as much as many times as possible. I'm not gonna, when we go into the smoke simulator, I'm not going to fiddle around with the settings and make the settings super high definition, because we all know what will happen if I did do that. So I'm just going to leave that as that is. So I'm just going to go to Object, Quick Effects, Quick Smoke. And straight away we're getting some smoke. But at the moment it looks rubbish and it doesn't really fit with what we want. And as it hits, boom, it all explodes. It's brilliant. But I'm going to first tick Smoke Adapted Domain to make it a little bit quicker. Not much quicker, if I may admit. And I'm just going to speed up the viewport. Maybe set these to wireframe. No, not even wireframe. Set them to bat. Oh, I can't do that. I have to do it separate each one. Just so. I want to speed up the viewport as much as possible, and we don't really need to be working with this side because all the action's going on that side. I don't even need to work with that one either. So hopefully that will speed up the viewport just that little bit more. Oop. And then let's get it to go. And 3, 2, 1. Right, that looks fine, but obviously we've got a few problems. This domain is a little bit too small, so we're going to increase the size to everywhere where the explosion hits, so it goes from this side of the trench to that side of the trench. I'm just going to expand it that way as well, and then we're obviously going to have to expand it upwards. So we've got a massive domain here, which does scare me slightly, because the bigger the domain, normally the more it's going to crash. So let's play it. Fingers crossed. We are all praying at the moment as we watch the smoke rise from the sphere. So at the moment that looks fine. Now obviously the domain might be a little bit too small, but I'm not even going to argue with the what's going on with it at the moment. I'm just going to quickly give it a render. If anything's going to crash the rendering smoke, so let's hope it doesn't. Right. At the moment it just looks like a giant black on the whole scene, which is, well, I guess that's what smoke is, but it is a little bit too low, the domain, if anything, because actually, to be fair, it isn't. I'm not gonna lie, it's not that bad, but there's obviously a lot of things wrong with it at the moment. A couple of things. One, there's no fire, which is obviously a big problem, because I want it to be a fiery explosion. So what we're going to do is we're going to the physics panel on the sphere, and we're just going to set the flow type to fire plus smoke. Brilliant. So now we're not just getting fire, we're not just getting smoke, we're getting fire. And it's actually something that I learned when, trying out playing with the fire and the smoke simulator, is that when you do this, it's not the thing that slows down your computer isn't the fire, it's actually the smoke. If you have just fire and no smoke, it actually it actually computes actually quite quickly, which is really weird, because you'd think they'll be about the same, but it's not. And what we have to do to actually show the fire, because if we go and do a render now. Oops. Nope, render image. Render image. If we go and render an image now, I'm doing the render image because I don't want to by just going into the rendered view. This might be a bit easier. As you can see, we have no fire at all. That's because I changed the settings in the node editor. So, how do we do that? Well, first we go to attributes and we set this to flame. We duplicate it and set it to flame. I'm sure you all know exactly how to do this anyway. And we're going to go and add a color ramp. If we find it, there we go. And the color ramp, this is what's going to decide the gradient color of the fire. So it goes from white to black. That's how fire works, from hot to cold. So I'm just going to set an emission shader. So this is how bright the fire is going to be. I'm just going to add that to that shader there. And to control the settings, I'm just going to go into the converter math node and add that to that, then add that to that. So now this controls how bright the fire is going to be. So, you know, if we want it to be big bright fire, we can. If we don't, you know, whatever, however you want it to be, really. So we're going to set this at white because the fire normally is white at the start. If I go to the rendered view now, we should have fire, or what looks like fire-ish. Ready? There you go. Obviously it's white fire because we haven't actually changed the colour yet. But change the colour in a minute, don't you worry. It looks very strange at the moment. It looks actually quite funny. But you can change the fire to whatever colour you want. You've got complete control over the colour of the fire, which actually might be quite good if you want to do some, I don't know, sci-fi alien thing where you want the colour to be blue, but I don't want the colour to be blue in this case. I want it to be normal. So we're going to add another little pointer, I guess, here, and we're just going to set this to a sort of yellowy colour. So like that, and then we're going to add one more and bring it to here. And we're just going to increase this fire, the black bit here, just so the fall off. Because if we don't do that, if we had it like that, it fades off and it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very realistic. Whereas here, it falls off quite it's quite hard to explain. If you try it yourself, and you'll understand. So I'm going to set this to a ready orange, and I'm just going to give it a save, and we'll give it a render. See what this looks like. Here it comes, and straight away we have fire. So, looking at what we've got, it looks quite good-ish. But the thing with these explosions is these were instead of being giant fireballs, they were more smoke. So we want fire, obviously, but we really do want it to be more smoke than fire. So we want there to be more smoke than fire in this situation. So what I'm going to do that, we'll lower the settings of this to 1. So that makes the fire darker. I'm going to increase the density on this one for the smoke to about 7. Give it a save. Oh, I can hit the right button. Then give it a render. Right, let's see what's going on here. Check the stream real quick. If you don't like the resolution of the stream, I just like to say that I'm going to be uploading them separately, and they're going to stream, so I actually managed to fix it properly. You know, we know what's going on. Right. So now it's darker here, and there's not much smoke at the moment, because if I carried on playing it, there'd be more smoke. Just there's more smoke. Let it all dissipate. I'm going to have to increase the domain, I can tell, but it's alright. And now, at frame 121, we will be able to see some more smoke. You see there. Okay. That is looking good. Just broke my camera, microphone nearly. I'm going to look and stop the video in a minute. But as you can see, we've got... Now, what we're going to do after this is we're going to fiddle around with the smoke settings a little bit, make it a little bit more perfect, and then hopefully we can finish this entire scene in this live stream, and we will go and do some camera shots of this, and then I will render this off live stream, then upload it later on this week, because it normally takes a while to render. So that's what we're going to do in the rest of the stream. So we've got ourselves our video. I'm just going to save it, do all the editing of it later. That's part 3, and get rid of that, and then start again. Right, check the stream real quick, see what's happening here. Okay, right, what we've got at the moment is this. It looks okay, I guess, but we want to set the... I want to first set the noise to make it look a little bit less smooth, because at the moment, if I click play... Oh, we're getting a little bit more noise now, because I've click noise on smoke high resolution. It looks a little bit too smooth. I want to set, if I set the noise up to 10, what does it do? For a start, it makes it all weird and funky looking things there. Look like turbulent smoke at the moment. Now I want to see what it does to the explosion, because I want this to be, because without the noise it looks more like a controlled explosion, and whereas during the war there wasn't very many, it wasn't as controlled as, you know, it was just a bomb on someone, didn't they? Oh, looks looking bright. I'm just gonna leave the node editor up still, just here, just in case I need it, because I might have to quickly jump back into the setting. Right. So at the moment we obviously, it's not going to be the best of smoke and thing at the moment, but we're getting there. Now what I want to stress, that it does look a little bit big, the explosion. It's a small little thing. Hang on, if we go back, it's a very small little round, and it makes some massive explosion. So I'm actually going to go into the settings and change how much this sphere here emits. So we'll do that by going to surface. So if I go and increase this to 3, it will emit a massive thick ball of smoke and fire, whereas, you know, dropped it right down to 1.5, so at 0.9 for example, it's a lot less. So I want to fiddle around with these settings a little bit, so we can see, and wait for it. Boom. Tired of seeing that. So the explosion looks a lot smaller. I'm just going to set it to 0.5. I don't know why it has so many decimals behind it. It's very unnecessary, really. Right, that's backwards. I don't know why there's a backwards button either. I don't understand. There's a lot of things in Blender I just don't understand. So at the moment we've got that. 3, 2, 1. Right, this is what we want right here. But I have a funny feeling, if I just go into the rendered view quickly, without breaking anything hopefully, I want to see exactly what the smoke and fire looks like, but without, you know, not in the camera view. One more sample. If it can do one more sample. One more sample, please. Just one more. Just to clean it up a little bit better. I don't think we're getting one more sample. I want it to be a little bit brighter, this fire. I mean, setting it down all the way to 1 might have been a bit of a mistake. So I'm just going to go into the settings again. I'm going to set it to 2. And there's another problem that I've run into as well. We've got basically what's happening here is the rocket or the bomb or whatever it is flies in and hits the ground, and then the ground explodes. So why, before it even hits, is the ground on fire? That's the next thing we need to fix. The explosion starts at frame 50. If we look, it starts at frame 50, I think. Is it? Or no, is it frame 65? Yeah, it starts at frame 65, However, the fire starts at frame 1. So we want to go back to frame 1, and we want to get rid of all the smoke and all the fire at the start. Now, to do that, you have to use there's two different settings. You have the density setting here and the flame rate setting here. Okay. Now, if you set the flame rate setting to 1, it's the same. Density to 1, it's the same. It's not, everything's normal. You set the density to 0. That means the smoke disappears and it doesn't, appear at all. If you set the flame rate to 0, the fire disappears. So we have to edit both of them and keyframe both settings. So we're going to do the density first. Start out with 0 density, and we just get smoke. Not smoke, we just get fire. So I'm going to go to frame 65 when the explosion happens. Okay. And I'm going to add a keyframe. I'm going to go frame 66. Set this to 1, insert the keyframe. So in frame 65 we get nothing, frame 66 the smoke appears. I'm just going to do exactly the same for the fire. So for the rest of it it's 0. We'll go to flame 65, flame 65, insert keyframe. Then flame 66, set it to 1, and then insert the keyframe. So now, if I just play this for you here, we get absolutely nothing at all, which is what we want. And then, boom, here comes the fire and the smoke. Okay, now that looks fine. If I just go into the render view, I didn't want to do that, did I? Because it breaks. Cross our fingers, everyone. If I go into the render view, look how nice and bright that looks now. So, we have officially done with the explosion. There's a couple of things I want to do first, or a little bit more stuff we want to do. I want to play around with the camera. Before we finish, I want to play around with the camera settings. So I'm just going to end this video here, and just so we've actually got segments, so each section is split up and covers the different topics. So I'm just going to start the video here, and I'm going to save this as part 4. I wouldn't dare try and bother rendering these whilst live streaming and using Blender. So I'm going to start the recording again and make sure the streams are okay. So in this video and for the rest of the stream, what I'm going to do is work on the camera view. I want to make it look a little bit like it's someone holding a camera and an explosion's just gone off next to them. Because if an explosion just goes off next to you, you're not going to be a smooth cameraman as a film director. You're going to be shaking around. It's going to be a little bit stressful. So I'm just going to go from default. I'm going to go to the animation pad. I've actually never seen the animation bit. No, I don't like that. Default, I want to make my own. That was horrible. That is a horrible panel. Looks all confusing. So we're going to go to animation, the graph editor, and we're going to set what do I want? When does this thing starts coming down at 50, doesn't it? That thing starts moving at 50. So I'm going to set a keyframe at 50. I don't know, it's not going to be, this is going to be the hardest part of the entire stream. Excuse me. Right. I'm going to set the rotation at 50 frames. Go to camera. Go 51, 52, 53, maybe 54. I'm going to rotate it up, rotate to the side, and I'm going to insert keyframes. So and I want it to zoom in as well. Oh, gosh, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be, honestly, an idea, you know, the worst thing. I'm actually gonna, for the rest, I'm gonna set some keyframes here, and I'm gonna go to the settings panel as well. I'm gonna set it at bumpy. Oh gosh. You can tell I'm not the best at keyframing art, can't you? And animation. What? Add modifier. Noise. Haha. Right. Where's the noise? I can't see any noise. If I click play, is there any noise? There's noise. It looks ridiculous though. It's a little bit too much. So what does this? Let's see what actually the scale. So the scale. Set the scale to 1 for the moment. Strength. Oh my gosh, what does that do? What the heck is this? Oh, we've got it. We've got it. Right, I'm going to clear all keyframes for the location, and this should. Oh gosh, does that mean there's? Oh dear. Clear all keyframes. Right, we're going to start fresh again. We're going to go again. Start fresh. This is genuinely awful. I don't know that much about animation. I know enough to do this, but it's quite hard to work out. So what I want is I want the camera to look up in the sky, follow the rocket thing falling down. Excuse me. And then I want it to explode, I want it to shake a little bit, and I want it to look at the explosion. So it looks like someone's actually holding it. That's what I want. What I'm going to get is going to be is a completely different story. So frame 65, I'm going to set location. I'm going to insert a keyframe. And I'm going to go to frame 70. I'm going to insert another keyframe. Hopefully, what does that do? Does that do anything on this? Does that make any difference to this? That didn't make it. Oh no, I've not clicked on it. That's why. There we go. I'm going to add a modifier. I'm going to add a noise modifier. Wherever that is. Hello, noise modifier. No. And hopefully, you see, I want it to be so the noise modifier turns off. Because the noise modifier is just looking a bit silly at the moment. Where do I strength? Ah, now I can see it. I have to go into this, don't I, and edit it, don't I? So frame 65. That's when I wanna split this. 3. I wanna make it. Oh, I need to change. Right. I know I can do it. I can keyframe the keyframe. Oh. Yes, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to... Oh, this is actually quite exciting. I'm going to... At the moment, I've turned the noise off. So there is no keyframing. But when I want the noise to happen, at the point of the explosion, which is frame 65, which I've hit it perfectly, I'm going to... Oh, no, I can't. Can I? Oh, no, I can't even keyframe it. Hang on. No! How do I do this? Anyone know? Anyone know how to do it? Why can't I keyframe it? That's not fair. Excuse me. I'll set this to like. Oh, so we get scale. Strength is how strong it is. Scale is how thick or thin the noise is, if that makes sense. Right. So at the moment that's doing nothing. If I increase the strength, it goes back and forth quite a lot. If I lower the scale, it will bob around quite a bit. Increase the strength. Yes, that looks amazing, doesn't it? That looks very trippy, but I want it to. Right, I want it to start there, the noise to start there, and then end there. How do I do it? Can I do it? Is it even possible? I should imagine it's possible. I mean, it's not a difficult task, is it? Is it a difficult task? Is this like one of the hardest things and I just don't know? That it's really difficult. God. Right. Right, I can do this. I can do it. What does all this stuff mean? Right, the colour. I don't like the colour. Why is the colour that? Why is that the colour? Dynamic effects? Can change it so it's dynamic? No, I'm just going to set it back to BZR. What do these settings do? I don't know. I don't know what they do. Restrict frame range. Oh! Jesus, that was ridiculous. There's a big button that says restrict frame range and I couldn't even see it. Oh, now I know what's going on. Set the start frame to 65, set the end frame to 70. So now we're getting a nice little spike of... Oh, I love Blender now. Yes, that's perfect. Right. This is the type of stuff I have to get through every single day when I come to making Blender videos. You don't see it. You don't see it when you're watching the tutorial because the tutorial's all set up for you. I have just literally said, right, I want the camera to do this. I've not Googled it. I've not looked into it at all, and this is what the price I have to pay, not understanding anything that it means. So now it's completely smooth, and then it does that. Yes, I'm gonna set that to 20 now. I'm gonna bring that back, see what it does. Right, and I need to do the same thing for this. Add modifier, noise. I'm going to restrict frame range, 65, and 70. Right, where's the green one? Oh, it's up here. And I want the scale to be very low. We want it to be just rumbly noise. I want the strength to be, what was it, 20. So we've got that. Why are they so far apart? Why are the... Oh, I don't... It's something I just don't understand. Right, I'm going to give it a save. And now... we've got this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, it didn't do much, did it? Didn't do anything really different. Oh. Right, let's change the Z locate. Let's do the Z settings now. Noise, set the scale to, what was it, 0.1 or something, 0.1. Strength to 20. And then we'll go restrict frame range from 65 to 70. So much easier than I ever thought. Who thought of keyframing the keyframe? What a stupid idea. Now, it's not going up. Oh, why is it not going up? Well, does it? Does it actually go up? And I just don't know. It's the next problem, I bet. No, it doesn't go up. Strength to 50. We're going all out. Location, strength that to 50. Location, strength that to 50. Right. So now, it's all at 50. Look at that. Oh my lord. Now that should make a big rumble. Okay. Let's see what this does now. You know what? That looks fine. I'm going to be happy with that. We need to now look at the second problem, I want it to, how do I do it? I want to do it, boom, when do I want it to zoom in. I'm not sure when I want it to zoom in. I'm just going to stop the recording here, and then the next one we're going to look at how to get it to zoom in and aim, and we should be nearly done by then. So yeah, let's just save this. This is part 5. I've got a lot of videos to upload. Part 5. Right, let's go again. I love live streaming. I think it's brilliant. Brilliant idea. Right, so what we're going to do in this one is I'm going to check the stream so it's not broken. Sorry, a bit quiet. Hang on. Right, we're going to get it so that it rotates. So the camera looks at the explosion and looks at it and goes, whoa, you know. So I'm going to set the frame to 60. I'm going to set the rotation. I'm going to keyframe the rotation. I'm going to go to frame 75. Let's make it, you know, a roundabout number. I'm going to rotate it up. I'm going to rotate it that way. Like so. Like that. And I'm going to insert keyframes. And at the moment that might not look very interesting. And then I'm going to add noise on the rotation, but quite wide noise, so it looks like it's bobbing up and down and left and right. Oh, this is getting good. I like animating. Right, so where is the rotation? It's down here. Do I want it to be a curve? We're going to talk about curves. All I think about is calculus. No, yeah, it could be a curve. I think it's fine. And I'm going to add, go on, click on this one. Can I do that? Can I click on rotation? Aha, I can click on rotation. So Z rotation. There's X rotation, Y rotation. Y rotation is all the way up here, and that doesn't do anything. And X rotation is all the way up. Gee, why are they so far away? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the X rotation. Which one is the X rotation? X is the one that actually goes up and down in this case, because dimensions, when it comes in three-dimensional workspaces, you don't really know what, it's not clear which one is X, Y and Z, because it's like, you know, there's no reference point. But, you know, we can deal with it. So right, I want it to bob up and down. I don't want it to stop. I want it to. So I'm going to add a modifier, noise modifier, and no, we don't want it to be that, like that. We want it to scale to be big, wobbly scale. Do I want it to be all? Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. That is looking better. I'm assuming the strength's a little bit too big. You'd assume, right? Oh, we're getting to this like sort of shaky human-looking thing. Again, the strength's a bit too big. So it's 0.2. It's getting quite exciting. Ooh, 0.2, 0.1. I've set it at. Oh, ooh. I'm gonna set it to 40. I'm gonna fiddle around with these settings until it looks perfect. Okay, what we got? I'm gonna set this to 30 because I want it to be a little bit more rough, but the strength is looking fine at the moment. We've got good strength. Does that look okay? Maybe 20. Maybe a little bit more rough. Oh, we're getting something here. And then I'm going to set the strength. Yes, I'm going to set the strength to 0.4. Oh, it's a bit bobby actually. That's a little bit wobbly. It looks like it's about to fall over. Right. 0.3. We're just going to leave that at that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Z, because that's the other one. And I'm going to add a modifier. Noise. And what was it? It was 20 and 0.3. So now it should bob about in the X and Y. Yes! But it's not going to look as good because it looks a little bit funny with both X and Y. So I'm going to set this to 5. Okay. So we're getting a... Oh, this looks good. Oh, I like that. Oh, right. What we're getting here is something pretty interesting. And let's check the stream. Right. As you can tell, I'm getting more excited when I make things that actually work in Blender. It's very exciting. Now I don't want it to make it so that, let's set this, no, keep the scale at 5, set the strength to 1. Now I don't want to, so I don't want to make, because I've just changed the rotation so it looks at the explosion. I don't want to make it so that the noise is so big that you can't even notice that it moves to look at the explosion. We still want that. Right, I'm going to set this, do that for X as well. 5 and 0.1. So, oh no, that's location. 5 and 0.1. Oh, hello. What we got? This is looking okay, I guess. Bang, explosion. And now I'm going to work on zooming in, because that looks fine. Now, does it still, the whole location? Yeah, okay. I'm just going to leave that as it is for a second, for now. Let's click save. Save that. Hang on a minute. Let me just check a couple of things. Hang on. This is what signing out of stuff does. I'm just signing into something. Hang on. Oh. Right. Hopefully that is it. Yes. Nope. Gmail. Right, we're back on it. Okay. Right. So what we've got so far is looking quite good. We've got a camera that's... Oh, no, not backwards. We've got a camera that's wobbling. It's all over the shop. This is what happens in war. You have a wobbling camera. And then the camera is going to look up at the explosion. And it's going to... Now I'm going to get the camera to zoom in. And I think is the best way to focal length. You get the focal length. Yeah, I reckon that's the best way to do it. So let's put the focal length back to how it was. And so we've got this. And then at what point? I'm going to say at frame 68, insert keyframe. As it comes up here, like that, I'm going to increase the focal length. I'm going to insert a keyframe. So now it looks at the explosion. Oh, you know, the first time I saw this properly, the first time I actually noticed this setting, it was in the film Man of Steel, you know, the Superman film, and it looked awesome. The way that they made it so it was like sort of, because at the end of the film, spoilers I guess, basically Superman destroys an entire city, but they made it like, you know, I don't know, that Superman flies past and crashes into a building. They did this sort of technique to make it look like, oh, someone's filming it with their phones, and I thought it looked really good. And I thought, oh, you know, I want to try that, and I'm getting it to as good as possible, like this. So smash, zooms in, sees the big explosion, and then I want it to rotate back out. Do I want it to rotate back out? Is it worth rotating back out? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth rotating it and then zooming it back out. I just want to give this a render the image. What I'm going to do is, because I've nearly finished what I want to do, it's taken a lot less time than I thought. I am going to this as an animation, one sample, and I'm going to see if it looks okay. At the moment, we were watching it at 9 frames per second, so it might be really, really quick when we actually come to render it. If it maybe slow down the video so it looks pretty much what we saw then. And then I will upload it and see what we get. And then, yeah, because I'll do this, I'll increase the sample size and then upload it. What do you reckon to that? That's a good idea? I think that's probably a good idea. So, what we got at the moment is this, looking amazing at the moment. Coming towards the end of our very, very long, 3 hours or so of live streaming, working out how to make this work, but we're getting to the end. This is the final result. Shall I actually bring all these back in? This might slow everything down. So we see what we've got. So what we've got is this final render. No, it's not even rendered. So we've got a World War One scene with a guy and a camera. So let's see what it is. Let's ready and play. Oh no. So we've got this. It's very slow on mine as well, so it's not the stream that's laggy, I'm afraid. And then that is exactly what I wanted from it. Oh, that's been a long time that's been a while, that is, in the making. Right. I'm going to render these. I'm going to render this, and I'm going to see what it looks like. I'm going to fiddle around with the settings, and then I will upload it to my channel, and we'll see we'll go from there. We'll see this. Well, this concludes the how to make a World War One scene in Blender. It's been quite a while. It's quite a nice animation that I did. It took about 3 hours. This live stream's gone on for an hour and 15 minutes nearly, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to finish the video here. I'm just going to minimise that. I hope you enjoyed this stream. I don't know when I'm going to do another one, but at the moment we've done with the World War One scene. I'll think of some other scenes to do, but I need to upload all these videos, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. And, oh, that's the wrong one. Thank you for watching.